Pharmaceutical companies portray themselves as looking out for you and your best interests, but do their dealings and actions behind the scenes match with this outward appearance? The Big Pharma theory suggests that pharmaceutical companies act in harmful and deceptive ways, putting profits over the health and even lives of their patients. Pharmaceutical companies often claim to put their patients first and that they are the center of every decision that they make. For example, this is featured on Pfizer's website. The Supreme Court in Dodge v. Ford in 1919 ruled that public companies are legally and financially responsible to their shareholders first. This is known as shareholder primacy. So legally speaking, putting their patients before their investors is illegal and they can be sued. Now, while 68,000 Americans die each year because they lack access to the health care they desperately need, the 7 major health insurance companies in America made over $69 billion in profits just last year, up 287% since 2012. So let's take a look at the evidence for and against this theory and decide if it has any substance.
Purdue Pharma executives had pled guilty to misbranding OxyContin in a way that encouraged addiction, all in pursuit of profits. They claimed it was safer and less addictive than other opioids, the same claim they used as a defense in court. This is a classic example of circular reasoning. They argued that OxyContin was safe because it was, in their words, safe. Further complicating the story is Dr. Curtis Wright, a former FDA employee who approved OxyContin in 1995. Just a few years later, in 1988, he was hired by Purdue. The timing has raised suspicion, often cited as post hoc ergo propter hoc, the fallacy of assuming that because one event followed another, it was caused by it. While we can't definitively say the approval led to the job offer, the appearance of wrongdoing is hard to ignore. Purdue also projected massive, unprecedented sales of OxyContin, numbers that suggest the company anticipated wide use and potentially widespread abuse. Pharmaceutical companies, including Purdue, are often accused of preying on people in poverty. Prices are raised because companies know that people don't have a choice. They either pay or they die from treatable illnesses. This is especially evident when 68,000 Americans die each year from lack of health care, as well as comparing drug prices in the US and other countries where often a fraction of Americans pay, as shown here.
We interviewed a man who was experimented on in biomedical research. When he tried to speak out about the physical and emotional damages it caused, he was silenced. He claims hospital reports were falsified to cover up the truth, and today he says he is no longer safe in any medical facility. Despite these experiences, pharmaceutical companies continue to argue that serving their investors means serving their patients. They insist that ethical behavior leads to better public perception and ultimately stronger shareholder returns. But this is often where logic begins to break down. It is a convenient narrative. Doing good is doing good for business, but it often doesn't match the reality on the ground. Drug companies also justify sky-high prices by saying the money funds research and development. In theory, that's admirable, but in practice, a significant portion of those funds appear to be reinvested into marketing, lobbying, and executive bonuses. When people like the man we interviewed try to speak out about the darker side of that research, they are shut down.
But yeah, just like, how has the medical system affected you and you personally?
It's affected my whole entire life. My whole entire life because I found out what happened. It shut me down. I don't feel safe or can't go to any hospital. I have several hospital reports where they lied, tried to cover up the story that my mother had me involved in. I had no clue. Started when I was 7, ended this year, the 22nd of February. It was a long-term bio chemist program, experimental, and so I suffered all types of surgeries and radiation pumped in my bone marrow and my leg, and just given all kinds of stuff.
Sorry to hear that.
All in the name of bio research and gene editing. I haven't been sick since I was 11 years old, 45 right now.
Right.
That's not normal. A lot of things about me are normal. And like I said, because I chose to speak out, tried to speak out, I've been silenced. Bank accounts cut off, everything, you name it. Had a car, had a career, all within the past 12 months, and have lost everything just like that. And now I'm homeless. All because I stand for what I believe in, and I believe I was done wrong. And I have no voice to get out. So, Sean Lewis, by the way.
Right.
Unethical are the ones who have the power. Ethics.
Big pharmaceutical companies do not care about helping people treating disease or the harmful situation they put the customer to. This company get the customer addicted to the product and raise the price to the roof to rake in as much profit as they possibly can, and justify the price with budgets reasoning like they are necessary to fund research and development. They use deceitful and sometimes illegal tactics and pretend that they do nothing wrong. In conclusion, the biggest pharmaceutical companies achieve that scheme helpless people out their money and even their lives just to fill the bucket with money. Staying with the blood, sweat, and tears of their customer, but that is just a theory, a big pharma theory. Thank you so much for watching.